Hello and welcome back to another Blender tutorial. If you watched the beginning part of this tutorial, you saw that I imported and textured up this model of Jade from whatever that game was, I forget. Um, but now we're going to rig her up. So what we're going to want to do is grab her rig right here, and I'm actually going to try to simplify this. I'm going to move everything back to the first layer just so it's easier for me. So she doesn't have too many bones, which is good. But I'm just going to do a little bit of cleanup. So I'm going to select all the bones that don't move her, like her immediate body. So like this is sort of like an attachment bone. So is this. So I'm going to press H. Oops, no, not Alt H. So Alt G to put that back. What is this? This is some sort of elbow bone. We don't need that, so I'll hide that. What is this? Wrist. We don't need that, so I'll hide that. This, even though this isn't really a joint, this is sort of like in the middle. We're going to keep this because that's useful as a twist. Okay, the hand has extra bones in there as well. So I'm going to hide that. This is the wrist, so I'm going to hide that. Okay, all the finger bones are probably needed. All these ones out here. And I'm just kind of moving these bones around to see if they're needed. So like right here, this is for some sort of attachment. What is this? It's probably for some sort of glasses or something. And this is all hair. So I'm going to hide those. Just notice there's an extra. I don't know the difference between these two. Okay, so I guess this is a Blender, or sorry, SFM specific. So this one has jiggle bones, this one doesn't. In Blender, obviously, we don't have jiggle bones. So I'm just going to delete one of them. Okay, are there any extra bones that I need to take care of? Oh, there's one right there, straggler. Okay, H. And if you look really closely, you can see sometimes these joints have extra bones. And the ones that kind of move like just the knee, we don't really need those. So hide. And hide. Any extra ones in the ankles. Any extra one on this wrist. Doesn't look like it. Okay. So I believe that was all the bones taken care of. So all that's left is just the main sort of joints, you know, the fingers, and the spine, and the legs and stuff. There's extra bone right here as well. Man, just find these all over the place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure nothing is selected. I'm going to hit Alt H, and all the bones that I hit earlier are going to show up. I'm just going to move those to a different layer. So I'm going to move them to this layer right here. And now this will make it a little bit easier to see the things. So let's go into object mode, and let's add the armature. So we're going to add the basic human meta rig. So here it is. This is what the human meta rig looks like. And we're going to just line this up with the bones. So I'm going to hide the actual mesh and the hair. Alt G and the hair. There we go. And we can unhide those later. So now we just want to line these up. And there's a quick way you can do this. So I'm just going to show this off. And I'm gonna do a few of the bones, and then I'm going to switch to... Oh, actually, this is also the wrong meta rig. So I'm going to do a few of the bones, and then I'm going to show you... Oops. Man, I'm getting rusty at this. There we go. We'll use this one. Character doesn't have any face bones, so we'll delete all the face bones. So I'm going to rig up a few of the bones, and then I'm going to pause this and rig up the rest of them, just so you don't have to watch an hour of me rigging this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to turn this to octahedral so you can see. So the SFM bones are super tiny, but if you want to get the perfect sort of fit, we're going to grab the sort of the base of the bone and click Control S, cursor to selected. And we'll go to object mode and select the clavicle right here. And we're going to click selection to cursor, and that will move it to wherever the cursor was. real quick. I'm going to also set this to x-axis mirror. And there we go. And now you can move that to that area. Same thing with this sort of shoulder bone right here. So I'm going to go into edit mode. Let me zoom in to make it a little bit easier. Alright, so select the base of that bone, Control S, cursor to selected. And if you notice, when I click Control S, there's a thing right here that says selection of cursor, Control Shift Y. And that is a custom keyboard shortcut that I added that basically I just have set as a macro on my mouse. So I can just click that and that will automatically do that. And I would recommend, if you can set some sort of macro for that, I would highly recommend it, because you're going to be doing a lot of that when you're messing with these bones. So I'm going to rig up this entire arm and hand, and then I'll pause it. So what I'm going to do now, to avoid any sort of stretching, I'm going to go into orthographic mode. I'm just going to line up the hand as best I can. There you go. That should make things a little bit better in the future. You don't need to have it perfect. Actually, make it a little bit more perfect. There we go. So, I'm going to line up. That looks like the base. So I'm going to line up the elbow with the elbow. And this right here was a twist bone, if you remember, so we don't need to put anything on there. This, I believe, is the hand bone. I'm going to unhide character, just so we see what I'm doing. And I'm also going to turn on X-ray. So just making sure this is the hand bone. Yep, that's the hand bone. I'm going to go into edit mode, Control S to selected, and then hand, move that to selected. I'm going to take the tail of the bone and kind of just move it. I'm going to take myself out of orthographic because it's kind of annoying now. There you go, just kind of arrange the hand. Okay, now we'll we'll just do all the individual fingers. So, thumb, and then we go back to edit mode, select the tail of that bone, cursor is selected, move this to the cursor. So as you can see, there's a lot of just doing this for a while. And you know what? Instead of rigging up the entire body, I'll rig up one hand, one leg, and the spine. And actually, you can probably figure out what I'm doing with the fingers at this point. Actually, one other thing so I'm just kind of putting these part of the hands on the surface of the hand. Doesn't really matter too much where these are because they're not going to be controlling anything. So I'm just going to push them into the hand a little bit. And this is going to be the first knuckle of the finger. So I'm just going to do one of the fingers like this because the thumb was a little bit different. No, I apologize. So put that there, put that there. Put this there. And put that there. And then you could put this at sort of like the tip of the finger. Sort of that basic area. Okay, now let's move on to the legs and the spine. So for the legs, I'm going to move this out of the way so we can see the bone. So I'm going to go right here, Control S, and move that to that area. I'm going to go right here and select this bone. Make sure I have the base of the bone, not the tail. Control S. And I'm just going to do this again like the old way, Control S like that. Okay, so now for the feet, I'm going to kind of line this up beforehand. So I'm going to move this center as I can from the top view. I'm going to rotate it because the feet are kind of pointing outwards a little bit. So I just kind of want to line it up as best I can. So when I do the foot roll later, it lines up good. So now pull this back. Pull this in a little bit. There we go. And now we can just do this. So cursor selected. Put that on. And I believe this is supposed to be in the middle of the foot. More towards this direction right here. Like that. Okay. Turn off orthographic again because that's kind of annoying. And let's see, is that okay, that's the base. There we go. So now the legs are all lined up. So now let's start at the base of the pelvis and work our way up. And with the spine, it's sometimes tricky because these SFM models have different lengths for the spine. Sometimes there's only like 3 bones or 2 bones. Sometimes there's like a million of them. So if there's a lot of them, you can subdivide these like that, or you can just kind of only rig up a few of the bones, which I would recommend because you don't need too many spine bones. In reality, you could probably get rid of one of these bones and still be fine. Though I would recommend not messing around with the this meta rig too much because it could ruin the way it sort of generates later. So I'm going to move all these bones right here to this pelvis and just work your way up the spine. And actually, okay, I forgot there's all these face bones that I'm going to get rid of. So I'm just going to select all of those. All of those. Oops. So delete all those bones. Okay. So now all the face bones are gone. And I believe these are both neck. So I'm going to line this part of the neck up with this, the base of the neck. Saying neck a lot. Okay, so I'll put that there. And then we want to line that up with the head. That's hidden, so let me move this bone a bit. Selected. And this, I think this is part of the face bones right here. Yep, this is face, so we can delete that as well. Okay, let's put that back, put that in there. And then we just kind of put this in the middle between these 2 bones, somewhere around there. Line the head up with the top of the head, right about there. Okay, now I'm going to work my way down. Is this a spine bone or is this something else? Okay, that's a spine bone. Okay, oops, I did that backwards. So we want to select the base, select that bone. Okay, so as you can see, there's going to be 1 extra bone, so I will subdivide it. Put that there, and then now I'll select this bone right here, subdivide that up. Select that. Okay. Shoot. Okay, select that. Put that in. Okay, so now the spine, the legs, and the hand, everything's pretty much rigged up. I don't think you need these bones either, but I'll still sort of line them up anyway. There's no bones for them to attach to, so. Alright, so I'm going to pause this, rig up the rest of the fingers, and I'll show you what to do next. So let me just pause, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I rigged up all the fingers, and there's, before I generate the rig, there's one more thing that we really need to talk about, and that is the rolls. And actually I need to line these up a little bit better too. But the rolls are very important because if I was to generate the rig the way it is now, all these fingers would be bending in weird directions. So, and also the arm might have a weird roll as well. I can't really tell though. So I'm going to turn on axis, and that will show you the axis of all of these bones. I'm going to click N, and where the heck is it? Right here. Roll. So this will be the way to change the roll. Basically for the hand, let's line that up as best we can. I believe we want the Z to always be pointing this way for the hands, and I believe the fingers you want the Z to be pointing down. So you want the X to point to the right. So let's just kind of do that now. So just kind of eyeball it, do the best you can. It's kind of hard with these fingers because the hand is at an angle. Normally in regular T-pose, the hand is sticking straight out, and you can just go to the top orthographic, As you can see, that doesn't work too well here. So I'm just going to do it in regular view. So you can see why the axis might be kind of important, because you don't know which way the roll is pointing. So just make sure that, I guess a better way of explaining it is make sure the z-axis is pointing into the hand. Let me hide this leg, it's kind of getting in my way. Okay, so this shouldn't take too long, so I don't think I really need to pause this here. Just kind of show you what I mean by moving these around. Oops, not radius. And like I said, I will only be rigging up one hand because it takes forever to rig up hands. And this is just going to be a tutorial, so I'm not going to be using this model in the future. Okay. And move that roll there. That rolls look like it's already set up pretty well. That there, and one last one. There we go. And I'm just going to look at the arms. Maybe the arms need some help. I think the arms are fine. Let me unhide those. Okay, so just looking around, making sure I don't have any other problems with the character. So right now is when I would recommend you save. And now we can generate the rig. So click generate, give it a second. Now you can move. Now you can see there's a whole rig, and you can mess around with it now. Now I'm just gonna, come on, hold down Alt, meta rig, move this to the very last layer just so it's out of the way, out of sight and out of mind. I'm gonna select, let me hide that, and hide this other rig. Come on, rig. Sorry, wrong rig. Skeleton. So we'll hide that. So we'll select everything and then select the rig last in pose mode. Click Control P, Control P, and just Armature Deform. You don't want to click anything else, not this automatic weights, just Armature Deform, and that will automatically add this to the rig. All these objects to this sort of rig. As you can see right here, it has two rigs. That is because we're going to be combining the original rig with the new one. So Alt H to bring all that back. So let me just hide the character and all the stuff. Okay, so we're going to want to have this in object mode and this in object mode. So select the original bones and then the new rig second. Then I think Control J. Yep. Okay, and we'll go into the rig layers, and as you can see, the original rig was on the first one right here. Okay, so now let's just hide some of the useless stuff. So torso, fingers tweak, arms FK and tweak, legs FK and tweak. And there we go. And this is what you're going to be left with. Sort of the default layout for the rigs. And you could probably hide these sort of breastbones as well, since you don't really need them. Okay, so now I believe it's this last. Okay, just kind of looking to make sure everything works correctly. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is select all this, hide all these bones, and then select the first and the last layer. And we're going to connect all these bones to the green deform bones. So I'm going to select the clavicle, and then the green clavicle next. Edit mode, Control P, keep offset. And we're just going to go down the line like this. So Control P, keep offset. Control P, keep offset. Oh, sorry, one second. Yeah, sorry about that. So, hand bone to hand bone, Control P, offset. This bone to this bone, Control P, offset. Man, I've been recording for a while. I'm going to be really annoyed if the audio doesn't work or something. And I realized I didn't really mess with the bone roll. I hope that works just fine. Control P, offset. Here, I'm going to do the rest of the fingers and then I'm just going to pause for now. Alright, yeah, rigged up the fingers. I decided to pause it just because I thought that you guys would probably get bored of watching the fingers getting rigged up because there's so many, it's so repetitive. Okay, so now we're going to do the spine and then the legs last. So, spine, we're going to Control P, offset, oops. Go back to pose mode. Next bone, Control P, offset. Next bone, Control P, offset. You want to make sure to select the valve, like the valve biped bones first, and then the rig bones second, and then parent it. Otherwise, the biped bone will be, or sorry, the new rig will be, sort of parented to the original rig, which would kind of defeat the point of making a new rig. Control P. And the reason I'm doing this is because since these models come with bones, why not use the all the weight painting that comes with it instead of having to do everything by hand? Because you could just re-rig the entire model. Okay, so I'm just gonna unhide all those bones that we had before, and I just want to make sure. Okay, that seems like it's working correctly. Honestly, I'm not too big of a fan of the new version of Rigify. Let me unhide her body as well. So it's looking pretty good. As you can see, the the right hand isn't really following. That's because we haven't rigged it up. And let me turn off Stretch IK here. So this is what Stretch IK does. As you can see, we don't want that. So if I turn off Stretch IK, there we go. Sort of locks it so it doesn't go any further. And I'm just going to check and see if the fingers worked properly. So I'm going to select all these last bones right here. Rotate X, X. Did I do that wrong? Maybe individual origins, XX. Okay, so I guess I need to select all the bones. So select all these finger bones. And we'll move them all along their own x-axis. This one's going to be kind of... Okay, never mind, I got it. I was going to say that one's going to be kind of tricky to click. Okay, so we selected all the finger joints. Okay, sweet. So now when I move it along their individual x-axis, it makes a fist, which is what you want. As you can see, the thumb is kind of pointing the wrong direction, and that's because I forgot to fix the rolls. This... Where'd it go? Whatever. When you're using the meta rig, you want to change the roll for that, or else you have that problem. So perfect example of why you need to fix that. And also that's another example of why I saved it right before I generated the rig, so that I can fix the meta rig and then regenerate it again. So let's put everything back to normal, RGS. Okay, and now let's rig up the legs finally. Here, let's hide all these bones again. Getting in my way. Okay, so this bone, oops, this bone. Itchy nose. Okay. By the way, keep in mind that if you want to select a bone, don't click in the empty space in between the bone. Click on these little edges. It'll make your life a little bit easier because that's where you actually select it. I didn't know that until recently. I always wondered why I'm selecting the bones behind it. Control P, keep offset, and the last bone right here. Control P, edit mode, keep offset. There we go. So now I'm gonna deselect these and unhide all the bones. And so now this sort of foot roll thing, there we go. So that's working like a charm. So I can move the toe like that. And if I move the leg, it also has Stretch IK on it. Okay, and I need to fix the rolls for the leg as well because the knee is bending in the wrong spot. I want it to bend sort of like that, minus the weird twist. So where is the Stretch IK? I want to turn that off real quick. Right here. Stretch IK, or IK stretch. There you go. Now it won't go beyond that point. Man, it's weird the leg bends like that. I don't like that. Okay, so now the model's pretty much rigged up minus that leg problem right there. So yeah, what you're going to want to do is just make sure you twist the bones around. I guess you would need to twist it like that in the meta rig. Oops. So just, if you're having that problem, take the meta rig, oops, and scroll all the way up, and just roll it like that. And that should fix your problem if you're having that problem, which you probably won't, because it's kind of messing around with the rig a little bit too much. Okay, so I believe that is it for rigging up this character model. Next video that I'm going to be making is rigging up a quadruped. So I believe I'm going to rig up either a horse or a dog. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Like, seriously, thank you very much. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.